Hello. I hope you don't mind. I'm enjoying a glass of Glenlivet. And I thought today I would do something completely different. I wasn't going to show photographs of uh, various models that I've taken recently, but I was thinking back to a time in my life where I had a bit of a crisis. I had an incredibly bad period of deep depression, which is in itself is something that it is a dilemma because you suffer. Some of us suffer chronically from it until we get it under control. But unlike any other illness, you can't see it on the surface. It's not, as if you've damaged a leg or an arm or you have a bruise or cut, whatever. It's It's internal. And I found during the period of time that I was suffering through this that I didn't want to speak too much. I didn't want to talk to people. It is for those of you who have dealt with it very debilitating. You sort of curl up and watch endless amounts of pointless television just to take your mind away from whatever it is that's upsetting you. Anyway, during the period that I'm talking about, which was quite a few years ago, I found that I became quite prolific. I've always written. I've written for a living. I had a syndicated column, wrote a book, was on radio and television, which required scripts that I always wrote, and I never had a problem writing. The first sentence just came, and then invariably the rest just followed. I don't know where it came from. It didn't come from me. I don't know where it came from. Somewhere out there in the universe, another planet perhaps, somebody was transporting, telegraphing these ideas to me. But anyway, this one day I was thinking about, it was at I suppose in the early days of high tech, or I've always been a tech nerd. I love technology, but I think it's got away from us all. And I just sat down and I came up with something that I've called passage. And I hope you'll stay with me. I'd like to share this. I've never read it before to anybody. I haven't, in fact, looked at this for many years, so I hope I can read it without making too many mistakes. I'm not editing this. This is just me sitting here with a glass of single malt whiskey, feeling not depressed, just feeling that I want to share what I wrote at a time of deep depression. Maybe it'll help some people. Maybe the thing as I said, that I discovered is that when one does go through this period of despair, I think something inside of you can come out without you conveying it verbally. You can do it pen to paper, or in my case, or most people's cases now, keyboard to computer. So look, it's called Passage. I have no idea when I wrote it. Let me see. Let me see if I wrote on here when I wrote it. Oh my goodness. I wrote this in 1998. That's 27 years ago. Good Lord. I wrote this 27 years ago. That's when I was dealing with what I was dealing with at the time. So anyway, I shall stop occasionally to lubricate my mouth, my lips, everything, whatever. And this is Passage. I hope you like it. Comments are always welcome. Always welcome. Passage. The high-tech society has been embraced with all the passion of adolescent lust. Life used to have meaning substance, a purpose. Now it is little more than a race against time, a crazed dash through an impotent world devoid of all the virtues I remember from childhood. My long lost childhood. Where did you go? I can still smell the freshly baked apple pie diffusing cinnamon perfume through the house, while grandmother serenaded the rising dough to the melody of Que Sera, Sera. I remember those balmy summer mornings, the distant drone of a small plane sketching a path across the powder blue canvas. As I filled my basket with apples which had dropped to the green velvet lawn. Ripe, crisp, juicy, tenderly nurtured by Mother Nature on the sentinel tree just beyond my bedroom window, whose limbs danced spiritedly on my ceiling in the moonlight. On such nights, an owl marked time with eerily comforting lullabies, and Sunday afternoons in summer, those languid interludes on wooden-framed deck chairs whose candy-striped canvas ferried us to a tranquil siesta. Mother's voice softly rousing us for the arrival of tea, small, delicate sandwiches filled with smoked salmon and cucumber and tomatoes from our greenhouse, and the freshly baked apple pie with a paper-thin crust, slivers of apples, plump raisins, and a stream of golden juices liberated as the fork began to explore the sweet confection within. The scent of Earl Grey melding in the bouquet from the roses which crowned the garden in the sweep of colours, so proud in the late afternoon sunlight. Those are the moments I recall fondly when the world was young and the days were long and the sun shone from dawn till dusk. Everyone had time to stop and talk. Everyone used a fountain pen and very fine paper on which to write their sentiments to one another. Shopkeepers knew your name. Restaurant owners sat at your table to present snapshots of their grandchildren. Mrs. Ailes at the corner shop, which served as both the grocer and post office, would read the postcards from our friends travelling abroad before we were afforded that pleasure. But nobody seemed to mind. It was an amiable time. My favourite treat during winter was Sunday lunch at a London restaurant. Accoutred in my best jacket, a clean white shirt, freshly polished, sensible shoes, and a smart tie. We were deprived of cellular phones and pagers ringing across the room, but sat enthralled by Neapolitan love songs from the strolling violinist, debonair in his brill-creamed hair and starched moustache. The hushed dining room was peppered by the sounds of china being removed, cutlery being replaced, and the carving trolley's wheels gliding gently across the floor. The air was full of exquisite fragrances, of opulent perfume from ladies in mink and perfect deportment, of fowl and meat and fresh fish, of overcooked vegetables, of soup and stew and Yorkshire pudding, of chocolate and rum and treacle and trifle, and of ripened cheeses. The smells, the stillness of the room, save for quiet, attentive, intimate conversation, and a bow passionately caressing the strings of an ersatz Stradivarius and the unobtrusive service. How well it is preserved in my memory. The quality of life was lost to the new generation when we inherited the world and accepted the baton. I I do not relish this new era. It is sad, brittle. It is a sad, brittle existence which in time will doubtlessly shatter. And among the shards, perhaps someone will pluck a small green apple from the debris. Maybe the child in me will emerge to reclaim it from my basket. People are perpetually running. They run for exercise, they run for planes, they run for meetings, and they run late. How I loathe that expression, adopted as a limp excuse in the absence of respect and responsibility. People eat atrociously, talking on mobile phones, looking at watches, crunching on crackers, drinking dreadful hot beverages from styrofoam cups in four-wheel drives, which one must assume are procured for the treacherous terrain of the local shopping centre. In the age of email, fax, overnight delivery, voicemail, cell phones, pages, and the postal service, people still fail to respond to communications in an arrogant demonstration of abject rudeness. I'm sorry, I'm afraid the generation to which I must sadly be counted as a member and the generation at our heels are essentially a disrespectful, insidious group. Good manners is a commodity which does not demand a platinum American Express card or a PIN number. It solicits just a few moments of time and some perfunctory interest in other people. There's a little bit more. My recent flight high above the clouds inspired a protracted reflection into the tulip bowled glass of life, a passionate swirl of realization that beyond the laborious discipline of reality's senseless and futile duties, there is indeed a place where pleasure and meaning are harbored for supreme indulgence. As our destination grew closer, I unbridled my burdens and sensed a sudden exuberance and light-headed, euphoric rush pumping through my body. A holiday approached, and with it everything life had to offer would be spread before me. A pirate surveying his bounty. Life so often becomes a cross to which my limbs are cruelly nailed, while beyond, in the midst, I'm saying this again as I'm not editing it. Life so often becomes a cross to which my limbs are cruelly nailed, while beyond, in the mists of my imagination, are places where only a few may bask in unsullied, consummate nirvana. A world and a time quite remote. In life, the one I inhabit from dawn to dusk, I'm a relatively solitary soul, quite by my own election, but frequently, it could be suggested, a predilection conceivably credited to others. I'm loved, one presumes, by my immediate family, the inner coterie, orbiting by virtue of the gravitational magnetism of duty. Beyond this contiguous, modest cluster of satellites, there is a vast ocean of darkness, uninhabited, empty, a chasm which will never be filled. Love has visited me twice, the first time through a chance encounter, an unexpected tryst with the attractive, intriguing woman I married. Love returned once again when our baby placed her tiny fingers in my hand and I understood and recognized utter, absolute perfection and unconditional love. Never was life more beautiful, more intrinsic, more purposeful. Indeed, if it is to have meaning, a design, a fusion of sanguine energy from within one's own dominion, then these paradigms of love are truly an undeniable legacy of the quintessential image reflected from my glass. The glass I begin to fill in the garden of my childhood. Lift the glass, my friends, and carefully observe the images it reflects of your life. You can still correct the ones which lie ahead, but in order to make this transition, you must first find the time to sit and contemplate not only your world, but the world of those with whom you share your work, your pleasure, your pain. These are moments to savor and cherish, to be created naturally without the assistance of electronic devices or soundbite conversation. They are your own design. Take a moment, smell the apple pie and listen. The branches are rustling outside the window. And if you listen very carefully, you can hear the gentle whisper of grandmother's voice borne by the distant breeze of memory. Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. The future is ours to see. Que sera, sera.